All right, everybody, welcome to tonight's Nikken Financial Advantage webinar. We're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about an absolutely phenomenal gift that we have been given from Nikken. Nikken, as you know, has given us in the past some absolutely amazing product technologies. They've given us in the past some absolutely amazing opportunities to touch and transform lives. And now they've given a huge gift in the form of a transformation of this compensation plan that makes it literally one of the, well, if not one of, but the best compensation plan in the industry. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a slideshow to help keep us on path. Rachel, if you can give me a thumbs up, do you see this slideshow on your screen right now? A thumbs down. So just a moment, share the screen. How about that? Rachel, can you see it? All right. So we are going to talk about the opportunity to not only transform people's lives physically, but also financially with this compensation plan. In addition to that, we're going to bring up some things I want to make sure that you're aware of. There is what Nikken has a step-up contest right now, and I'm finding there's just a boatload of people who aren't aware of it. If you develop 3 or more seniors in 1 calendar month, again, if you develop 3 or more seniors in 1 calendar month, you are eligible for up to 10 people winning cash ranging from $250 to $2,500. Last month, there were 2 people. One of them got $2,500, the other one got $2,000. I'm just going to strongly encourage you, get your ducks in a row now, invite people, be a part of that contest. The people who develop the most seniors will be eligible to join Team Kaizen, the top 3, and they're going to have a contest taking people to the Caribbean. All-inclusive, some really great stuff. So it runs last month, this month, and next month. And if there's any way for you to get your ducks in a row this month, I'd do it this month because there's a lot of people who are probably ramping up for next. So if you've planted seeds, I'm going to urge you to look at the bottom right-hand side of this screen. The contest isn't just about developing seniors, but they've made it easier for you to develop seniors. So what happens is if you have a person who goes senior, the person who goes senior can receive 250 Nikken reward points. So what I'm telling the people that I've been working with is say, hey, I know you've been talking about getting a sleep system, which would be enough points for them to get senior done. If you do that this month, I can show you how you can get your water system for free. And that is a big bonus and perk that you can move in 100 different directions. Let's say someone is shopping for water systems for gifts for their children for the holidays, and you show them how to not only get them water systems, but if they get their water systems, you can show them how to. They get their 5 water systems, you can show them how they can get 5 pair of magnetic insoles for free as well to also pass into that Christmas holiday giving. So lots of different options here, but don't let that pass you by. That is a huge perk to be able to get people to make a decision now as opposed to later. Next, we have product launches that are coming up. Nikken has introduced, by the way, that shampoo is awesome. It feels phenomenal. It's extremely concentrated. A little bit is going to go a long ways. And the personal care items will be at the launches, and the Nikken Kenko Touch will be at the launches. I'm not sure if she's on this call right now, but I was speaking with a nurse in my organization, and she has recently sponsored a doctor, and she took the Kenko Touch over. She's going to be a launch host down in San Juan Capistrano. And she took the Kenko Touch over to the doctor, and the doctor put it on her carpal tunnel issues. And within minutes, like, I don't know if it was 2 or 3, but it was just a very short period of time, the doctor's eyes got very big. She said, "What is this?" She says, "I don't hurt." So we've got our hands on a really phenomenal product there. When it comes to those product launches, you've got extra shampoo that you can take, and you could use it in terms of selling it to other people, so you make a profit because you got it at a discount. You've got it that you could sample, just like that we had at the convention. Go ahead and get your own ketchup fry sauce holders with lids and hand out samples to people that you know. That's a great way of demoing that product. The Power Mags, or the Kinko Touches, I have in my own household multiple of its predecessors, the Mag Boys. We have one for every bed. And same thing is going to happen with this. People are going to want one in their home. They may want one to loan. They may want one to sell, to be able to make a profit on that and so forth. So just be aware that those are there and existing. Get the word out on your product launches. All right, here's what we have. We have the start of something big here. We have a hybrid, and maybe it's a tri-bred. We've got a stair-step leadership program that is now no longer requires leadership. There's still a stair-step breakaway component to it, but you're in building your team, you're not required to build leaders. It's going to make your building more efficient, and you can build it at the speed that they're developing instead of having to artificially push people ahead. It's also a customer model, and it's also unlimited width, a trinary, if you will. It's fast, it is simple, very, very fair. If people want to get out and rock and roll with retailing, they're not going to be penalized. If people want to rock and roll with leadership development, they're not going to be penalized. It's going to build solid, very solid, stable organizations. And the changes for this that I'm talking about today, I'm sharing them now so that you can prepare and begin wrapping your minds around it. We're going to be under the old plan through the end of December. These changes are effective as of January the 1st. And with that in mind, there are a couple portions of the plan that allow 3-month rollovers. And Nikken is going to allow those 2 items to be retroactive so that you could count volume from November and December to add to January's for rank advancements. The bottom of this, this presentation is created before the policies and procedures have been updated and are my best interpretation of how the changes will be implemented. We don't know exactly how things are going to happen. We have the rough outline at this point, and I have an email that just changed something that was different already from my Monday night's call. And so stay tuned. We're in flux, but we're here to help you get the principles, your mind wrapped around the principles of how this works at this point. How we earn. You're going to earn by giving customers the Nikken Health Advantage. As customers discover Nikken and become excited about our technologies, and they decide that, hey, these are amazing things, and volume is created, without any minimal requirements, you can earn. Number 2, as you enroll and assist entrepreneurs who recognize the Nikken Financial Advantage, your volume can grow and you can achieve greater rank advancements. There are Nikken reward dollars. You can use those just for consuming products and being able to get them for free. I have hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of dollars of Nikken reward points. You can show people how to get Nikken reward points by going senior this month and next month. You may choose to use your Nikken reward dollars to acquire products that you can loan out to be able to build your business. Many of you are gathering extra pairs of magnetic insoles. And if you've got someone who's going senior and they're thinking of building a business, why not use their 250 reward points to get 5 pair of magnetic insoles that they can loan out to people and begin attracting more people to their business? You can use the products to market and sell to others and make an additional profit on it. So if you get $250 worth of product for free and then you retail that product, you're going to be making probably an additional $60 to $70 on top of the $250. So you're at roughly $310 to $320 that you made because of those bonus points. Number 4, Nikken incentives and trips. Lots of incentives that come throughout the year. For those that are working on getting Team Kaizen done, it's just announced that there's an all-inclusive trip into the Caribbean worth thousands of dollars. So again, more ways to earn. You get personal rebates, just as much as if you buy something from a store that says mail in this coupon, you get a rebate. With Nikken, we don't have to mail in the rebate, but we are allowed personal rebates anywhere from 10 and 15 and 20%. 10, 15, and 20%. If John Travis and Peggy Goodman, if you could mute out your line in the bottom left hand of your screen, you'll see a mute button. That would be fabulous. Group overrides. there are overrides that come as you build an organization. And you can make, again, an extra 10, 15, 20%. Leadership bonuses of 6% on your leadership organizations. And then there's a lifestyle program, formerly known as the auto and home bonus program. Again, all phenomenal ways to be able to earn with this compensation plan. We now have an extreme legal advantage. Last year, 2 major network marketing companies were shut down. Vima was shut down because of PAC requirements that they had for people to earn in their compensation plan. They were shut down because they didn't have enough customers. All their consumption was internal. I shouldn't say all, but the majority of their consumption was internal. Hold one second, and let me see if I can find a way to mute lines here for just a moment. Looks like we have a couple people that aren't muted. So let's see. I got that one. Got that one. Got that one. Thanks for your patience here, guys. Okay. So back to sharing screen. Okay. Rachel, do you see the screen again? The PowerPoint? You're not seeing the PowerPoint. How about now, Rachel? Fabulous. So we have a customer model that matches FTC regulations. We no longer require, actually we never have required them to trigger PAC purchases, but there are many compensation plans that require PAC purchases in order to trigger certain bonuses in their compensation plan. We don't do that. We have no personal purchases required to receive a check. So the FTC says if you work at Home Depot, you don't have to buy a 2x4 in order to receive your check for the month. Same thing as with Nikken. If you sell products, you can receive a check. So we have huge building advantages with this new plan. It's a fast path to income for people who are new. Increased profits as you launch your business and you're helping others launch their business. No longer a bypass, the 500 minimum rule that was at senior level, that is gone. You can build your business on a part-time basis because the bypass rule was altered. And again, we've got somebody making noise in the back. Hold one second. Let me see if I can find that. And
take it somewhere you can hear it.
Someone who just joined us on the bottom left of your screen, if you can mute, that would be really great. Thank you very much. There we go. Okay, back to screen sharing. So there is no bypass at the senior rank, which, by the way, there will no longer be a senior rank, and more on that in just a moment. You can build this business in a part-time business. You no longer need a psychology degree. And what I mean by that is, in the past, you were required to build key leadership people and then help them advance to the next level, the next level, the next level. And if one of them got a flat tire, you were in trouble. And now you no longer have to worry about whether someone is having challenges in their marriage or challenges in their personal life or whatever it is. You can simply go where the fire is hot and work with those who are hot and excited. You can have real businesses developed. And some people would get to a rank and then just kind of disappear. With this, to maintain, you have to maintain ongoing volume. So it is a true structure rather than a false structure as you build it. A legacy advantage is that when businesses are passed on, if the leadership people aren't in place, let's say you sponsored a bunch of people your same age and you pass this on to your children, well, as you age and pass on, those leaders would age and pass on. And that leaves a problem for people to be able to qualify at rank level. That's gone because it's going to be based upon volume now rather than rank people within your organization. And obviously, as we've always had, we have unlimited width potential with this. So just a massive amount of unlimited income that can be created. All right. Merging. Listen to this very carefully. Senior will merge with executive. Again, senior will merge with executive at a 10% override and rebate. Now, it's not going to be that executives are called seniors, but the name senior, I just got an email on this, is going away, thank heavens, because senior sounds too much like silver. So what's going to happen here is that anybody who is a current senior right now on January the 1st will automatically become an executive, and they will get a raise from 5% to 10%. They're going to double their income in that category. So bronzes are automatically going to be bumped up to the, bronzes will be bumped up to the silver level. Now, please watch your screens really carefully at this point. There are some terms that you may be familiar with or may not be familiar with. I want to help you define them really quick. The first one, QPPV. The Q is a new concept because sales for yourself do not qualify if they're wholesale. They only qualify under your ID number is if they are retail. So a qualified personal point volume only comes from retail sales underneath your own ID number. That can be orders that are phoned into Nikken that are retail orders. That can be orders that occur on your personal web page. And it can be My Nikken orders as long as the retail button is clicked. Another term here is personal group. Some of you are familiar with that, some of you are not. As you sponsor new people in your organization, as long as there's not anybody between you and them that is a silver or above, all of the people in your organization are part of your personal group. Once there's a silver, they're considered to be their own leadership entity and organization, and that volume is no longer part of your personal group in order to achieve the next item, which is your qualified personal group point volume. Your personal group point volume is made up of all volume, wholesale or retail, that your group does, plus your retail volume, which is your qualified personal point volume. Now, the new term that typically only golds, platinums, diamonds, and royal diamonds knew before is organizational volume. Qualified organizational volume is comprised of two things. First, all volume in your downline, retail or wholesale, no matter how deep it is. Again, all volume in your organization, retail or wholesale, is part of your organizational volume, and all of your QPPV or all of your retail volume is part of your organizational volume. Next term, primary leg. Primary leg is the leg of your organization that has the highest volume in any given month. Secondary leg is the leg of your organization that has the second highest volume in any given calendar month. Outside OPL is volume that occurs outside your primary leg. OPL is volume that occurs outside your primary leg. So let's say you have a total of 15,000 in volume in your organization, and your primary leg did 10,000 in volume. The remaining volume of 5,000 is OPL, outside your primary leg. OPSL is outside your primary and secondary leg. All volume in your organization that occurs outside your primary and secondary legs plus your qualified personal point volume. Both the outside primary leg and outside primary and secondary leg include your personal retail sales. Let me say that one more time. Both the OPL, the outside primary leg, and the outside primary and secondary leg volume include your retail sales. Okay, moving forward. The primary basis of building a solid and stable organization is learning to gather customers. You may be excited about mag steps, you may be excited about water, you may be excited about bone health, you may be excited about shampoo that is all organic and it doesn't have any of the nasty chemicals that can cause damage. But your basis is working to establish and gather customers. And this is just a chart showing a picture of you with 5 customers, and through those customers having achieved 500 points of quality personal point volume. Now look down below that so that when you have this clarified, a $125 retail sale, again a $125 retail sale is worth approximately 100 points. There's a 25% markup from wholesale to retail. And so typically $125 without taxes or shipping, $125 sale is equivalent to 100 QPPV. When someone says you need 100 in retail points, a minimum of 100 QPPV, that's not 100 retail dollars, it's the point value that goes into it. So it's really $125. The next is 500 QPPV is the minimal target that we've been asked to look at achieving in terms of duplication in our organizations. It's a smart, solid way to grow. One of your first goals as you launch people is, yes, you're helping them find business builders, but you're also helping them to find customers and help them to find repeat customers on AutoShip. Of course, Nikken's AutoShip program has a 25% discount for AutoShip customers, the most generous in the industry. The 500 QPPV is also required for achieving Team Kaizen, for those who do it by creating 2 new silvers in a calendar year. Next, I want to orientate you to just a view of someone's organization. Let's say that you're a silver, and let's say you have 6 people below you under the following structure. Leg 1 has 3 people in it. You see 3 executives, each of them having done 500 points. Leg 2 just has 1 person that you directly sponsored. Leg 3 has 2 people that are sponsored. 1 that you sponsored, 1 that is in depth. Your primary leg in this case would be leg 1, because of the 3 legs that are there, it has the most amount of volume. It has 1,500 points. Your secondary leg in this case would be leg number 3. Again, take a look at that. Your secondary leg in this case would be leg number 3, because it has 1,000 points. Leg 2 only has, as it's drawn out in this picture, only has 500 points. So primary and secondary, again, are the highest and second highest volume legs. In this chart, your qualified organizational volume is the sum total of every single set of volume that's on the chart there. Everything added up together. Every person's volume added together is a qualified organizational volume. And because you as a silver have 500 points, not at wholesale but at retail, those also qualify. In this case, OPL, you can simply take the volume of leg 1 and subtract it from your organizational volume, and that would give you the remainder of your volume that is outside your primary leg. So in this case, your organizational volume is 3,500. Leg 1 has 1,500 points. Subtract that from the 3,500. That means that the outside primary leg is 2,000. And the next one is outside primary and secondary leg. You then take another 1,000 off of that, because leg 3 has 1,000 points there. That means there's 1,000 that is in the secondary or outside the primary and secondary leg. In the remainder of this presentation, I use blue rectangles you see here at the top to signify people who are silver or above, leadership positions. And I use circles to indicate people who are part of your personal group. They are executives or directs. I would like to pause just for a moment. You can unmute by pushing the button on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Is there anybody that has a question up to this point about any of the terms or anything that we've outlined? One more time, you can push the button on the bottom left-hand side of your screen if there's anybody that has a question at this point. Okay? Moving forward. You going executive. Now remember, we no longer are going to have the term senior. Yes, I know that at convention they talked about that executive was going away and that we will have the term senior, but senior sounds too much like silver, and it's always been a bit of confusing for people. So they're going to go with maintaining the term executive as that next level. The requirements starting in January 1 for going executive are 100 qualified personal point volume, and you need to maintain that each qualifying month. You can use up to 3 consecutive months to qualify. You need a total of 1,500 total in your group in order to achieve that. So if you literally did 500 points each and every month for 3 months in a row, you could go executive and add, instead of the 25% retail bonus, add another 10% from going executive. The promotion is immediate, and so if you do it on the second day of the month, all of the remainder of the volume will receive the extra bonus for you. You receive 10% overrides and rebates once the 1,500 cumulative has been achieved. And again, there is no bypass rule. That is revoked. No bypass rule of 500. That is revoked. And I'll explain a little bit more. Please pay very close attention to the screen on this part right here. urgent for you to pay close attention to the screen on this one. Part number one. This is a direct who sponsors a direct who sponsors a direct. I call it direct 1, direct 2, and direct 3. So in this example, direct 1 orders 100 points of qualifying personal point volume. So on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, you see they met the 100 QPPV for the first qualifying month. Direct 2 meets the 100 QPPV, and direct 3 did 500. So at this point, direct 1 has a cumulative of 700 points. Direct 2 has a cumulative of 600 points. Direct 3 has a accumulation of 500 points. Now watch carefully what happens here. In month 2, direct 1 doesn't do anything. Maybe they just bought a couple pair of insoles their first month. They say they're not concerned about building a network marketing organization. They're not worried about doing their 100 points. They choose not to do their 100 points. I hope before the end of the month, you as their sponsor call them and say, hey, you don't want to miss out, because below you, you've got direct number 2 who did 100 and direct number 3 who did 500. Wow, you've got a bunch of points, actually 700, 800, and 1,300 points total. The direct 1 is now within 200 points of getting senior done, or probably executive done. But in this example, direct number 1 did not, again, direct number 1 did not choose to do their points. So now we have month 3. Direct 1 does 70 points. Again, they're not trying to reach getting the 100 points. They're just doing whatever they want to do. But that 70 points does not reach the minimum 100 qualification of qualifying personal point volume that's needed, QPPV. Direct 2 does do their 100, and direct 3 does their 500. So here are the results. Direct 1 remains a direct at the end of 3 months. Though there was a lot of volume below them, enough volume to reach the executive level, they remain a direct. Direct 2 advances to the executive level. Why? Because they did 100 points in each of the calendar months, which is the minimum that is required in order to go executive. And below them occurred over 1,500 points. So combined, it allows them to reach executive. And of course, the person at the bottom did everything that was necessary, 1,500 points, in order to reach that. Once again, I'm going to pause for a moment for anybody with questions. You can push the button on the bottom left-hand side of your screen if you have a question you want to ask at this point. This is the first time in the history of Nikken, in our personal groups, that you could find people of a higher rank underneath someone of a lower rank. It's always been that way in our leadership positions, where you could have a royal diamond under a silver. But now you can literally have a direct who has an executive underneath them.
Brody,
Yes.
if you're already a senior, do you automatically go executive because you had to do the 1,500 when you became a senior?
That's correct. We mentioned that at the beginning of the presentation, and I'm sorry, there's so much information here. But seniors will automatically advance, current seniors, January 1, will automatically advance to executive, earning 10%. And bronzes will automatically advance to silver, earning either 15 or 20%, depending upon what they acquire in their group volume. Okay? Great question. Any other questions? Okay, next. My apologies. Let me change this right now. Again, just prior to getting to this presentation, I received the update that we will no longer have the name senior. Going executive over multiple months. In month 1, let's say you do 200 points. In month 2, you do 300 points, and you find somebody else who does 200. Now again, each of these can have an unlimited number of customers, so and I'm not marking those on here. This is the combined volume of whatever you purchase yourself at retail and what your customers purchase. So in month 3, you've accumulated 500 points plus the 200 before that. So you now have 700 after month 2. In month 3, because you do another 500, these do another 300, and then 500 here, you have a cumulative of 2,000 points. You've met your 100 each and every month. and you've met the requirements, and therefore you would advance to executive. Okay? So this is an example of someone advancing from direct to executive under the new plan starting January. Going silver now. Silver requirements have changed, and this is where the rubber really meets the road. See, folks, right now, with what they've instituted for executive, for the same amount of work that a senior would have done, an executive is going to earn approximately 6 times as much as they were earning 1 year ago for the same amount of effort. Let me repeat that. That's a 600% increase of what they can earn because they're retailing at 25% and now earning an additional 10%. They're earning over 600% more than they would have 1 year ago. 1 year ago, they would have earned 5% as a senior. Now they're going to be called executives, earning 10%, and it's a dramatic increase. Our silvers are currently earning twice as much on average. This isn't theoretical. This is stats from the company. The average silver is earning twice as much as the average silver did a year ago because of the enhancements that we implemented last year. And now it's going to be put on steroids because instead of having to wait to 12,000 points, it's at 6,000 points that this can kick in. So the requirements for going silver, 100 in retail sales yourself, create a total of 6,000 points in your group, which includes everybody in your team, any of their sales, plus your retail sales. And in the final month, look very close at that third bullet point. In the final month of achieving the 6,000 combined points, you have to have now a knowledge of primary and secondary legs. You have to have 1,000 points that occur outside your primary leg and 500 points that occur outside your secondary leg. The promotion is immediate, and you'll receive anywhere from 15 to 20% overrides and rebates, and you'll receive 6% leadership bonuses on leadership organizations up to 2 levels deep from that point on. So here's an example. You going silver in a 1-month period. You do 500, you have an executive that does 1,000, underneath them an executive that does 1,500, another personally sponsored executive at 3,000, and a direct at 500. If you add the volume up, here's 2,500, here is 5,500, here's 6,000, 6,500 points total. Do they meet the group volume requirements? Yes. Do they meet the 100 point requirement? Yes, they have 500. Now, in the final month of 6,000 combined points are reached, do they have 1,000 in points that are outside their primary leg? Well, let's look at this. Their primary leg in this case is this middle leg with 3,000 points. The middle leg here has 3,000 points. This one has a total of 2,500, and this is 500. So this becomes their primary leg in this month. So do they have 1,000 points occurring outside their primary leg? Yes. Here's 1,500 here, here's 500 here, and here's 500 here. Requirement number 2, do they have 500 points that occur outside both their primary and secondary leg? Well, this middle one is the primary. This is the secondary leg. So do they have at least 500 points? Well, they actually have 1,000 points because your personal QPPV counts towards the OPSL, the outside primary and secondary leg. So in this example, these 2 items right here wrap up to 1,000 points. So let me back up there. Up to 1,000 points, and that is in excess of this 500 minimum. Okay? This is the first time many of you are grasping this. Again, I'm going to pause. Any questions? Okay. Another example. Month 1, you do 500, and you have somebody below you that does 500. Month 2, you do 500, and an executive and a direct do 500. Month 3, here is your primary leg this month in month 3. Primary leg with 1,000 points. There's no minimum for the primary leg. That's the compensation plan doesn't ask for a minimum in the primary leg. What it does ask is, have you done 100 every month? Yep. 500, 500, 500. That's all been done. Do you have 6,000 points? Yes. Everything together accumulates to over 6,000 points. And if it doesn't, humor me. Pretend that it accumulates to over that. And then right here, here's the thing I want to look at. 1,000 qualified in your outside primary leg. Well, here's your primary leg. Everything outside that leg right there now becomes outside primary and secondary leg. Well, there's 1,500 points outside the primary leg. So they qualify there. 500 points that are outside the primary and secondary leg. Here's primary, here's secondary. They actually have 1,000 points combined that are outside the primary and secondary leg. So they meet the requirements. And I need to apologize because I don't think we add up completely to the 6,000 on there. So let me go back here and let's say this one's 3,000, and then we are taken care of. Boom. All right. So any questions? Again, any questions on this? Okay. Next. Another example for going silver. Whoop. It disappeared on me. I believe this is example 3. So in month 1, you're an executive that does 1,500 points, and underneath you, you have a direct that does 500. You see underneath that, it lists a cumulative of 2,000 points. Month 2, you're an executive with 1,000, and the person you sponsor below you does 15, and the direct does 500. You've now accumulated a total of 5,000 points. Okay? So we haven't crossed the 6,000 threshold yet. Month 3, you do 1,000 points. You have an executive that does just 500 and a direct that does 100. Can you still go silver? Can you still go silver? Have they met the 100 each and every month? The answer is yes. And you'll notice this is a person who's doing a lot of retailing themselves. 1,500, 1,000, 1,000. They're doing a significant amount of retail themselves. And so in those cases, again, this plan favors and makes it possible for people who do more retail than recruiting to still advance. So they met their 100. They've created 6,000. In the final month, is their outside primary leg over 1,000? Well, let's look at this. This executive is their primary leg. Everything outside of that, themselves and the direct, are their outside primary leg. So their outside primary leg volume is 1,000 and 100, so that's 1,100 points. They meet the OPL requirement. Now, the second one is outside primary and secondary leg. They have to have 500 points. Well, here's their primary leg. Here's their secondary leg. Do they have 500 points that occurs outside of those two legs? The answer is yes, because the silver's qualifying personal point volume counts for outside primary and secondary leg, almost as though it's a third leg. Does that make sense, everybody? I see some heads nodding. Thank you. If there's any questions, I'm going to pause for a moment. This is stuff to take in and get figured out. Any questions? Okay. Oh, okay, next. Silver maintenance. Once you go silver, there are some ongoing requirements. There aren't ongoing requirements for direct. Well, I should say that. I should take that back. There aren't ongoing requirements for executive. There we go. An executive the executive needs 100 points in order to get their organization override. So the executive has an ongoing requirement of 100 points. A silver has an ongoing requirement of 100 QPPV in retail, 1,500 in group volume. So in this example, follow my cursor if you will, distributors 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all people that if you're this top square, the top silver, all of those green circles, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7, all count as your group. And provided your group that is not being separated by another silver or above, a leadership position, provided your group does at least 1,500 points, then it triggers two things. Well, it triggers one thing. It triggers the ability to earn 20% on your group instead of just 15%. So when you cross that 1,500 threshold, you now have the ability to earn 15 or 20% rather than 15% in your group. Now the next trigger is 4,000 organizational volume. If you take everybody that you see on this chart, leadership, non-leadership combined, and their volume adds up to 4,000 points, then this silver right here at the top can earn how many leadership levels deep? 2. Silvers earn 2 leadership levels deep. 2 6% that you see on the compensation plan when the compensation plan has the 6% on the side. So this silver would earn all of these green here, this guy's organization, and this guy's organization with all the green there. But here is a 3rd level leader. He would not earn on that. In order to earn on that, to get the 3rd 6%, they would have to advance to gold. Okay? To earn 3 levels deep in leadership bonuses, they would have to advance to gold. Here's you going gold. 100 QPPV, 1,500 group volume, 15,000 organizational volume, and you have to have 5,000 outside the primary leg, 1,500 outside the primary and secondary leg, and you now earn 3 levels of leadership bonuses deep. Here's an example. Here's you as a gold. You have a silver with a silver, a total of 10,000 points there. You have a silver with 3,000 points, and then your personal group. Your QPPV here on the right-hand side, 500. You meet the 100 requirement. Your group volume from all of your greens combined with your volume is 4,000. Your organizational volume total, everybody on the screen, 17,000. Primary leg right here on the left, 10,000 points. Secondary, so outside the primary leg is your organizational volume minus your primary leg. That's 7,000 points. Does that meet the 5,000 minimum? Yes. So everything's okay. And then when you subtract both the primary and the secondary, secondary leg from the 3,000 and 10,000, then you end up with the outside primary and secondary leg, 4,000 points, which meets the 1,500. Any questions on that? Okay, excellent. You guys are catching on well here. Going gold, example 2. Here's a 2-legged gold. Here's 10,000 points in the primary leg. Here's 1,000 points in the secondary leg. And then 5,000 points that you're doing in retailing. Let's look at this. Do they have the minimum 100 PV? Yes. Do they have the group? They have 6,000 in group volume, so they meet the minimum 1,500 there. Their organizational volume is 16,000. That's more than 15, so they qualify there. Their primary leg is 10,000. Outside their primary leg, so here's their primary leg here on the left. Everything outside that totals 6,000 points. Outside primary and secondary leg, 5,000. So here's their primary leg. This is their secondary leg. What's outside of that? 5,000 that they did themselves. Does that meet the $1,500 requirement of outside primary and secondary leg that you see in the bottom? The answer to that is yes. Platinum. From here on out, we shouldn't take too much time. I think you guys get the concept. 100 in personal volume, 1,000 in group volume, 30,000 organizational volume, 10,000 outside the primary leg, 3,000 outside the primary and secondary leg. So here's an example. Platinum has leg 1 that does 15,000, and at this point, I'm not drawing leadership or green circles. I'm just saying everybody that's in that leg, no matter how deep, adds up to 15,000. Everybody in leg 2 adds up to 5,000, leg 3, 5,000, leg 4, 3,000, and then a personal group that's over here. Okay? I could even call that leg 5 and just add those together. I just wanted you to see an example here. Again, they've met their 100 points because they have 2,000, they only need 100. They've met the 1,000 points. Platinum's only need 1,000 for ongoing maintenance for their group in order to get their 20%. Golds need 1,500. Platinums and above need 1,000. Qualifying organizational volume was a total of 32,000. They reached exceeds the 30,000 mark. Outside the primary leg, their primary leg is 15,000. All of the remainder of the volume flows into that, so they've exceeded the 10,000. outside primary and secondary leg, they have exceeded that as well. Any questions? Okay. Moving forward, going diamond. Standard 100, 1,000 in your group in order to achieve the 20% overrides in your group. And then organizationally, you need 100,000 organization volume, 33,000 outside the primary leg, 10,000 outside primary and secondary leg. So here's just another example of legs adding up to help you go diamond. You can have unlimited width here. We're showing just 4, but you can have 6, 7, 10, 20 if you want. This just shows those adding up. Go ahead and take a look at that yourself. Look at the numbers, see if you understand where they all come from. And do you have any questions? I'm going to just pause here for about a minute for questions and see if you can follow through this example yourself.
Brody, I have a question.
Yes.
So if you're a gold and you don't hit those numbers for the group volume, you know, whatever the amount was again, do you go down to 15%, or as a gold you still stay at 20%?
Okay. In order to trigger the 20% earnings on your group, that's all circles with no leaders between you and the circles, all of your directs and seniors that don't have a silver between you and them. A silver must achieve 1,500 in group volume. If they get less than that, then they only earn 15% on their group. Okay?
What about a gold?
A gold needs 15. Silvers and gold need 1,500 in their group. Platinums, diamonds, and royal diamonds need 1,000.
Whatever the same like it always was with the 1,500.
Yes. So gold is the same as it was. Silver was reduced to 1,500. It used to be 2,000 for silvers. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? Great question, Rachel. Okay. Royal diamond. What do you think, guys? You going royal diamond? Wow, you got to do it. You got to do it. Okay, so 100 minimum of sales in a month, 1,000 in your group. So if your group's getting small, go out and help some new people. Go out and get some retail customers so that you can reach that minimum of 1,000. I encourage you to get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5,000 in monthly sales on an ongoing basis so you never have to worry about it. That's a healthy organization instead of someone who thinks about minimums. Minimums are very dangerous, folks. Next is achieve a total of 300,000 organizational volume, and then 100,000 outside primary leg and 30,000 outside the secondary leg. So that would look something like this. Same scenarios as we've had before. I'm not going to dwell on it. Let me move forward here. Actually, I think that's the end of our presentation. So let me take it off of screen share. If there are any questions, I can bring up a whiteboard and we can draw on the whiteboard. Please, if you would, unmute your phones with comments. What are your thoughts on this? What are your questions on this? What do you like about this? Again, go ahead and just the bottom left-hand side of your screen, if you push the mic, you can unmute yourself to share your thoughts.
Hi, Brody, Giselle here. Thanks for that presentation. It helps to understand it better. I almost had some questions there at the beginning of your presentation, but it got answered as we went along. Because I had forgotten that we could include in the outside legs the QPPV.
Yeah.
The ones the example I was thinking of, well, it might not happen, but I had forgotten about the QPPV, so that was good to be reminded of that. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. So, Giselle, what do you think? People being able to go silver and executive much faster, is that a good thing?
Absolutely. That's a great thing. Yeah, it will be encouraging for many people.
Excellent. Anybody else? Any comments? I see Bill's unmuted. Darlene, my dear mother,
Hi there.
you've unmuted. Any comments, anybody?
Well, I can see that it certainly opens up doors for people to have a better perspective of achieving and moving forward.
Excellent, excellent. Wilkies, I see you have a new toy in your hand.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What are your thoughts, Wilkies, who actually achieved all 3 months of the summer sizzle? Hip, hip, hooray, Wilkies! What are your thoughts of the new compensation plan, Wilkies?
It looks good. It makes things more possible. We've been talking to people as we come home, and their eyes are lighting up. It's like, oh, I can do this. And I said, yeah, we need to do it now. Even though this doesn't start until January, then we'll be ahead. That if it's, we could get their senior done or their executive done in the next few months. And then
let me ask this: what would be a reason to advance to senior this month or next month, rather than waiting to advance to the equivalent of senior or executive, so to speak, in January? Why would someone want to do it now, in this month or next month, as opposed to waiting? This is important for you to wrap your hand around.
250 reward points.
Bingo.
and then another 75.
75 for what?
Retail.
For retail sales, if they get 1,500, which is their 1,500, they'll have that as well. So there's 325 to put towards product for them, and then they can actually sell those as retail, or have more, to share for them.
Excellent.
Plus, they will have a couple of months of getting 5% that they would have gotten nothing.
Exactly.
Why wait for 10% when you can still get 5% now?
Well, and they'll have a couple months of bringing people on as customers who become familiar with the products, who will then want to take advantage of the things that take place in January. So they're going to go enter January with a team as opposed to just starting out.
Yes.
Yeah, they could feasibly go silver.
Another reason to get started now is that you can take your people to the launches and hear the best. Folks, going to the launches is one of the most important things for being able to gain knowledge about these products, because there's never a better place to learn about the products than the information you're going to get at the launches. It's the most in-depth look you're going to get at the products. So take strong consideration, not just going, but taking people then so they can get educated. Excellent.
One question for you. When you have the a silver that was, if you're silver and you've got senior other silvers under you, and you can only go the 2, and there was the third one. Before, if the second one, the second level, if they don't qualify, does it go down to the third one?
Yes. So compression still exists in our organization, so you'll always be paid on qualifying legs. It all compresses up.
Nice.
Excellent. Any other questions? Okay. With that, then, we will conclude and stop.